So the next part, we're going to move on. We're going to need this. Remember, this is the feeder arm. This is this triangular part here. See it there? And this is what, it has a little feeder part here that runs along the grooves of our recording cylinder, and that helps move, this feeder arm will move along these grooves and help push the recording and playback head along. Here, I'll show you that here. Sure that's on there. There we go. And you notice if you don't have the weight on there, it goes clunk, clunk, clunk. So you actually need to make sure that you have the weight on there. There we go. So that's what that part's going to move, that reproducer head part along. So there again. Okay, so I've got this arm. That's going to fit this way in here, but it needs to be attached. So that's where this long metal rod comes in. So it says to locate all the parts we need for that, because the motor is basically to move this along smoothly. The other parts are for actually reproducing the sound, for recording and playing back the sound. So we're going to go ahead and locate this part. This is the recorder head part. You can see it here. There, it's that part there. And we're going to go ahead and screw the needle in. So we've got this, we're going to turn it upside down. The needle's going to rest there. Put that down. And then we're going to take another one of our screws, just a regular flat screw, and the needle. Now it's very important that you put the needle in correctly, and that's something I noticed too, is that we're having, this ends up getting bent. This is another part that can end up getting bent pretty easily, and once it gets bent it's hard to unbend it, so you might have recording trouble. So don't bend it too soon. Try not to bend it before you need to. I would fiddle with the screw first. So I'm going to go ahead and put that pointy side up. So this flat side here is going to rest against your sound membrane, which is going to end up fitting here inside this part. So you want to try to get this in straight, and like I said, try not to get this in straight. Try not to bend it at this stage. The recording and playback is going to be tricky if you bend it. So a couple of important notes with this. Don't bend the needle. Don't bend this part the needle comes in on unless you have to, because you'll notice on the needle of this one, I don't know if you can see how bowed out that is. Let's see if we can get that, a shot of that. See how bent that one is? we're having trouble recording and playing back because it's so bent. And so that's been a bit of tricky there. So I would fiddle with the screw first before you bend this part, because once you've bent it, it's hard to bend it back into place. And the other thing is to make sure, like I said, to put, you can change out this diaphragm once it's in, but it's very tricky to do. The whole thing flies apart. So pick your diaphragm carefully. There we are, that in there. Okay, so we've put the needle on the needle unit. And now we're going to assemble in part 4. Now again, your instructions will say to use the copper diaphragm, and that's the one that comes in the same bag as this. But look a little bit further in the kit because you want to use this blue one to begin with. You can change them out. It's tricky to do it once it's all assembled, but you can do it. But we've had better success with this blue part, this blue diaphragm, than with the copper one. So we're going to go ahead and assemble the reproducer head here. So you go ahead and you grab the white part, and you're going to put one of the thick plastic rings. Remember, these are really thick. There's 2 of them. Go ahead and put that inside. That fits down in there. And then we're going to use that thin plastic, the blue plastic one. You can use something else if you want. Something I've been wanting to try is maybe some balloon or a glove. I'm allergic to latex, so I would try a glove myself. It's made out of something that's not latex. So you're going to sandwich this between the 2 black O-rings. We're going to go ahead and put that other O-ring in there. Like that. There we go. Now this part is tricky because you'd think that this metal plastic part would fit completely in here, and it doesn't really fit well in there. At least the other one didn't. So it kind of rests in there. I don't know if you can see that. It rests in there, but it doesn't fit completely inside. And what that means is when you go to disassemble this part later to change out that diaphragm, it flies apart and this part goes springing across the room. So just be careful of that. So we're going to go ahead and put this on here. Now remember, it doesn't actually fit completely, so it fits loosely in here. You're gonna want it to snap. You're gonna want to do it. The part that snaps is this, and this is the part that's tricky to get on and off. So we're going to go ahead and put that on, so it fits down into these little feet. Fit down into those slots, and then it goes and it fits down over there. You want it to be tight. It's going to come over. There's a little knot. There's a little lip for it to hold on to. So you're going to need to push on it. There you go, and that clicks. Now, you can see that the needle actually is touching that sound reproducing part, and if you actually try it now, la 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 la, you should be able to feel this vibrate, and then the needle's going to work on top of that. Again, we've got that nice straight metal part. If you bend that part, you're going to have trouble with this, so try not to bend this part to make it fit if you don't have to. You can get this part, like I said, but what you need to do is pull on here, pull it out, and then this whole thing's going to fly apart, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do it with the other one in a little while. Okay, so we've got this part. This is the part that's actually going to record and play back. Woohoo! This is the part that vibrates to actually make the sound reproduced. So we've got that part done. And now we need to hook this part and the feeder arm into the assembly. We're going to end up looking like that in there. Oh, and again, I just put another big hole in my recording. There we are. Okay, so we've got our metal rod here, and you basically insert, let's see it on here. There we are. So we're going to take the metal rod, don't put the O-rings on it yet. Take the metal rod, fit it through. Feed it through there. And you notice that there are little notches on each side that you're going to feed the O-rings on later. Okay, so move this to this side because this one's going to be on this side. Then we're going to go ahead and put this. Remember, you're going to want that to go on your cylinder. So there's only one way you can go. Feeds into here. Make sure that needles are nice and straight. Feed that in there. There we go. Now these two are sitting side by side, and you're going to be able to lift them up and put them back down again, like we can on here. Lift them up, put them back down. Good. Alright, so now you need those black plastic O-rings. Now, as you can see, extra screws. I like that about this kit. So I've got my 1, 2 plastic O-rings. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the rod. So put this on here, this side, this one on here, on this side. There we go. So now this is going to go along here, so we go ahead, there's 2 holes. See them? There's a hole there. There's a hole on that side there. You're going to feed this through those little holes. So you can tell what needs to go where, because these holes here are pretty little. Whereas the hole that this is going to go through over here and this one, they're quite large. So we're going to go ahead and put that in, oops, over here. On that side. Oops, I hope we're not hitting our needle here. So here, insert the rod in there. On one side. You're going to need to bow the case out a little bit to get this in place. I hope we're not bending that needle doing this. There we go. Oh, there we go. We snapped it into place. That O-ring's come off, but there we go. We've got our reproducer head in place. We've got our feeder arm in place. We'll lift those up. And now we're going to make a cone that goes in here. I'm of 2 minds about whether we need that cone or not, to be honest, because I'm wondering sometimes if it will work better with just this, but this seems to gather the sound. I'll also talk a little bit about there's a cone that another cone that comes with it that you're supposed to use, and I find that one to be a little tricky. So let's hang on a sec here, put that there. So the kit comes with a piece of paper to make that cone, so you need to cut it along the top here. Obviously you're going to be careful with your scissors. So this is where your scissors and tape are going to come in. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Okay, nice curve. There we are. Down there. Scissors back. So the paper cone is a little tricky to make, actually. You wouldn't expect it to be, but it can be. So you've got to actually fit it, and it's not straight up, as you can see. When I have here, it's kind of, it's almost, yeah, it's cone shaped. It definitely curves downward. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it here and assemble it again in a minute.